Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, today is a little bit of an update on the Super Duty. There hasn't been one for a while, for the fact that I'm trying to get it tuned. Oh, just dropped the O-Ring. I'll bring that up a little later. So the problem is SCT tuner couldn't. I'm getting a P0110, no, 011B8. Which wouldn't actually upload the factory tune for whatever reason. So you read the codes on it and it brings up a TCU error. So took the truck to Ford, they hooked up to it and they weren't able to read the TCU either. So I ended up changing out the TCU to a new one. Worked out, they were able to update something in the cluster after. So it connected and was able to read to the truck. Great, they still couldn't get the tuner to work. So sounds like an SCT issue, right? So I brought the truck home, SCT. Literally on the phone for 4 hours with this one gentleman. He tried his best, but the only way we can get it past the B8 code was quick key cycle. So when you do a tune, it's going to tell you to shut the key off, on, off, on. It kind of just reads for voltage change, so that way it knows that to connect to the computer. Quick key cycle got it to download, or upload, sorry, the factory tune. But halfway through the custom tune, it decided to crash. By crash, I mean it literally locked the truck. The ECM had no data on it. The PAT system, which is like passive anti-theft system, I think it calls for, the flashing red key on the dash, that locked out. So yeah, truck wouldn't even turn over. It's pretty much a paperweight at that point. They told me that take it to Ford, get it reflashed, the VIN of the truck, factory Ford tune, because when they pulled the tune off of the upload of the truck to the tuner, via like hooking up to my laptop through their Derive system, they said they found remnants of an old tune on there, so they thought it was just corrupt. So go to Ford, put a factory Ford tune to the VIN with the factory like EGR, DPF as it was on the truck, no big deal. They were able to reset the PATs, and actually SCT paid for that. They refunded me for that price, so that was awesome. Brought the truck home, immediately tried to download again, and I was able to upload. Again, I should start from like very beginning. I always had a battery charger on it, so I always had over 12 volts, no issue. Sometimes it was 14, right, because the charger's on a 30 amp charger. So I brought it home, tried to re-upload, re-download, uploaded halfway through the download, almost actually 80%, and it crashed again. So at this point, there's an issue with either the tuner or the truck, or who knows at this point. It's above my my knowledge. I can replace parts that are leaking, which I'll bring up at the end here, or like broken or physical parts, right? You see it broken, you fix it. You buy the part, you fix it. When it comes to like needing the IDS program, which is Ford's program to hook up to these computers, I don't have that. And I'm not gonna pay to subscribe and try to mess around with that, like to VIN my ECM. So the truck's currently booked in next week to a diesel like repair shop. They just all diesels, so they're gonna try. And I feel like what's gonna happen is once the truck gets put back to factory tune, reset the pads, we're gonna try a different downloading system, like I don't know, EFI Live or something like that. I just feel like the SCT is too touchy with voltage. You get more than a half a volt change voltage spike, crashes, doesn't like it, which is stupid because you're above 12 volts, so it doesn't make sense. If you're below 12 volts, I get that, because the ECU may not it can get a corrupted file, right? It's not getting proper voltage for download or upload. But like, I'm at 14 volts and well above 12, and if it gets more than a half volt spike, it crashes. So they blame like aftermarket stuff, anything that's aftermarket, which a lot of times does work for people. If you disconnect, a two-way radio or something, it could work. But I just have a basic command start on the truck. It's probably been there since brand new. It still works. I pulled the fuses for that even, and it still crashed. So they're kind of thinking it's that, but maybe, I don't know, I can't see it. I've had two of these other trucks like this, and they both took tunes. One was H&S, took it no problem. The other one was a Edge, took that one no problem. SCT, this tuner I don't know. Maybe it's the truck. I don't know the history of it. If you watch my first video on it, it was a sight unseen bought truck. So I don't know the history on it. So hopefully it's a simple fix of just a different tune. We'll let the pros look at it for that point, because it's above my knowledge. But the second reason I'm here is to talk about the O-ring on my degas bottle. Your main coolant, like it's a 1 inch, 1.5 inch hose off the bottom that kind of goes from the engine to that, and that's, you know, your overflow tank in a way. Well, I kept looking under the truck, and I kept, not really under the truck, but I would notice that the coolant's going low after a couple of days of sitting. I'm like, well, where's it going, right? Maybe it's just after my EGR delete that it was still filling up, right? Because I haven't driven it. I've lately sat in it longer than I've driven it. Like I've sat in it trying to tune it for like hours, but driven it maybe 30 kilometers. If like tops, that includes picking it up, because you don't want to drive it a lot with it manually deleted, but not electronically deleted. So anyway, so I went underneath the truck. And I'm like, oh, where's this coolant coming from? And this is just after I did the EGR delete, right? So which has a lot of coolant hoses and stuff that you block off and take off, and take the degas bottle off a room and whatnot. So I ended up wiggling the 1 inch, 1.5 inch hose on the bottom, and yeah, definitely the O-ring was given out. So instead of buying a whole new hose, I ventured to buy just a new O-ring. So here's the one that fell. I was talking about at the beginning of the video. So this is the factory one. There is a split nut somewhere here. There's a crack right there. There's a crack, and it feels a little like you feel edges on it, like it shouldn't, but it should be nice and round and plush. Went to Napa, found a black one. It's a lot firmer. I don't know if it's good or bad. Give this a try, and if worse comes to worse, because the hose, they sell the hose at Ford, but it's going to be like $100, right? And you don't need the hose; it's just the O-ring, because the style they have. If worse comes to worse, and I take it into the shop to get the tune fixed, I'll see if they have like a specific O-ring they use, because I'm sure this is common, right? The guys just change O-rings. Why buy a new hose? And if they do, then I'll just pick it up and change it myself. But we'll give this a try. It can't be worse. Like, and it wasn't like huge. It wasn't just leaking. It was like dripping over time. Like, I don't know, like enough to fill the palm of your hand like overnight. So not a big issue. The truck doesn't go in though for 4 or 5 days, but I just don't want, you know, leaking coolant on the driveway and having animals go by, and you know, animals like the smell of coolant. I don't want them like drinking that up and getting sick, because I have neighbors with animals, and I don't want to get them hurt, let alone non-neighbors. So let's get it fixed. We'll get it changed out, and I'll report back on if it's a fix. Let alone, because with the old O-ring, you could wiggle the hose, and definitely it was loose. So hopefully this one's a better fit, tighter fit. Good news. The O-ring went in. It's a slightly little bigger. It's definitely stiffer. So tricky to get it back in the hose, but honestly, got it on there. Worked out great. Put it on, fill the coolant reservoir back up, wiggle that hose. No leaks. Where before, if you wiggled it, it would leak. So obviously leaked without wiggling, but wiggling just sped up the process to make sure you didn't have a leak. So everything is great. So I'll come show you what we're working with here and what hose it was. I don't know if you can see it, but it's the hose down there. Right there at the bottom of the bottle. At the bottom of the bottle. There's a little clip on it. Again, put the clip on before putting it on the reservoir. Push it all the way on until it clicks twice, and then you're on. So there you go. Here's a quick way to save yourself $100 for a hose. It's just when you need an O-ring. Hopefully I can get this this tuning thing figured out. Hopefully I can just, like I said, it's just SCT issue, and I can just use it as gauges after, because at this point, if I can't use it for tuning, it's a brick to me. So I could get EFI or EFI Live, or there's another one to use too, another Easy Link. That's another one. Hopefully that works and they have better results. Double the price, but you know what? If it gets me on the road, I'm all for it. Anyway, see you guys later.